This tutorial is going to be about the initials exercise. So if I jump into Illustrator, I've got my initials done here, and you can see that I've done it in 3 different fonts. So I've got this one here, which is Helvetica, then I've got Baskerville, and then the last one is Cochin. So the first thing I'm going to do with these is I'm going to go to the type and I'm going to create outlines. Once I've done that, I can ungroup it, and I'm going to have all 3 of these letters able to be moved independently. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to enlarge them up a wee bit, and then under view we have Command Y, which is outline, and if I keep going Command Y or Control on a PC, Control Y, it'll flick between the keyline and the preview mode. I like keyline because I can see exactly what's going on. So with this exercise, what I'm doing is I'm trying to Command Y, make some nice shapes. That's all I'm trying to do. So I'll line this, I can scale it a wee bit if I want. And with the other letter, just trying to compose them and make these kind of make these shapes work a wee bit. See if we can get something. And I quite like what's happening there with the way the M comes through and kind of flicks around the F. So I'm going to go for that. So Command Y, and I get these, I can highlight them all. I can come over here to the Shape Builder tool, and whatever I run across is going to join together. Even these areas in between, you can see I made a little bit of a mistake there going over the top. I'll just undo it, and I'll join it little by little. This bit through here, if I want, I can actually join that whole gap around here, join it all together. I can do it bit by bit, and I'll come in here and have a closer look. It all looks pretty good. So now I've got one shape, Command 0, fit it back in the window. So at this stage, if I want, I can come in here and I can start to tidy things up a wee bit. And you'll see here if I come in, there's an odd little gap here. So what I'm going to do is with the direct selection tool, the white arrow, I can just click on a point, use the shift key, keep it horizontal, nice and straight, and move it over. Then if I go P, which just brings up the pen tool, I can go over this extra point. You'll see that the pen tool will change to a minus. I can click on it and it deletes that point off. So what I can do is I can kind of come around now, and I can start to edit and tidy up some of these areas. So this thing here, I think would be nicer if that point came down, and I'm going to do that. Whoops. Get that Bezier handle and adjust that curve so it looks nice and smooth. And the same thing, P for the pen tool. I get the minus and I delete that off. I know here that if I go on the inside of that point, I get that little circle. If I click and drag that, it is smoothing that curve out a wee bit, which gives it a kind of nicer finish. There's a few funny little bits that I can come in here and have a look at. You can see, I know with the M, it gives this weird kind of double up. So I'm just going to pull that point up, so I've got a point, and you can see it warps this a wee bit. What I can do is I can mess with the curves, so I'll get P for the pen, and I'll take out some of these extra points, because I know that the less I have in the way of points, so there's another one here. I can get rid of that. I probably now need to Shift C, we'll go to the anchor point, and this is just going to let me drag some curves out. I can click go off, click on this one independently, bring it over that point, so that I've now just got one handle. With the direct selection tool, I can mess with these two curves. Now those handles are working together, and try and get a nice smooth curve. And now it's ending with a point rather than this funny little curve that's got here. So I'll do the same thing again. P, just going to minus off some of these points. Again with this one, I can go Shift C, bring up the change the point tool, the anchor point, bring that one in over the main point, and it disappears. And now with the direct selection, I've got this one handle, and I can work between these 2 points, trying to get a nice smooth curve happening. And have a look. There's a few fine details, like this line running down. Like if I do a line here, just trying to get that angle running down the M. Then I can get these points, drag them in, and then I can get that line and delete it. So it's just trying to get things to line up, to see when they work and when they don't. This I could probably bring all the way down, get rid of that edge of the F. So I'm bringing it down to meet this marker here. P for pen means that I can minus off some of these extra points. And yeah, we're starting to get a shape that's really starting to work. This bit here, I know I can click on that point. You can see there's a double point there, so if I get the pen tool and I minus off one of them, then it means when I click on that one point, I've got this circle which lets me again curve this area, trying to simply make nice compositional shapes. And you can see with this, if I grab this and I go Command or Control X to cut it, and I just go back with Command Z, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of taking it right back to where we were in the beginning. And I'll just shall go Command Shift Z. There we go. That's what I originally had, and we'll paste Command V the other one, and you can see the subtle difference, getting the smooth curve here, getting rid of this bit and this bit, and this bit here is just making a nicer, more refined shape. So with the initials exercise, this is what we're going for, and then we do that twice, and then the next one is breaking this apart and trying to make an interesting composition. So I'm going to enlarge it up so it looks good on this 160 square. And with this, I go Object, Compound Path, Release. So as soon as I release it, everything kind of just becomes shapes. But it means now, I'll go Command Y so I can see things, that I can grab areas. So if I get the direct selection tool, I just drag across that line. If I delete once, it takes out that section I highlighted. If I hit delete again, it would get rid of that whole line. And what I'm doing here is I'm just deleting a couple of points, because it then means that I can go in and I can get these shapes and I can work with them independently. So I'm going to grab everything and change it to a black line with a fill of none, and I'll just go Command Y. So I can start to play with these shapes, but first I'm going to break a few more things. Part, the shape is kind of working independently now, so I'm just going to get this, and this one I'm going to make it a solid. I can scale it, and I'm trying to bring it in so it looks like it's kind of joined with that shape a bit. This line here, I can click on the line rather than the points. Just going to drag it across, and I'm trying to get this to line up a wee bit here. Changing the thickness of the shapes. If I go into the stroke menu, I can round off those caps. With this, I can rotate it, scale and move it. You'll see that if I scale it, the line stays the same thickness. So I need to bump that up. If I don't want that to happen, if I want it to stay in proportion, then what I would do is I would change it from a line to a shape. Go Object, Path, Outline Stroke. Now if I looked at it in the key line, I'd see that it's a shape and no longer a line. So again, I can bring this in. I'm trying to line things up so the shape looks like it touches this line. I'm going to get this line here and delete it, and I'll do the same with this bottom line. So it looks like this appears straight out, and if I have a look at it here, I can again move this line so it looks like it's kind of coming out of that corner area. I can extend that line up to see how it ties in with the triangle here. And again, all of these things, playing with the angles, scaling it, and just trying to make these shapes where it touches here, and the way it divides becomes really interesting. This again could probably be turned into a shape. I'll select everything. You can see if I click on here, it will create this as a shape. If I move it, you can see how it kind of breaks apart again. So with this I can now scale it, fill it as a shape, rotate it. So I'm going to try and rotate it in a way with a straight line can latch onto another straight line. So I'm trying to look at the edge of the A there. If I take it down to the bottom, use my arrow keys to kind of bump it up and down. Again, starting to get some kind of interesting shapes happening. This one I'm going to get rid of this line, so it looks like this still lines up, but we'll come in and have a look. Might just try and move it a wee bit, so I'm trying to cover that square end up, so everything kind of comes to this nice refined point. Again, take a little area here, so I'm leaving that curve. And this, if I get a stroke, I can do things like I can pick a dashed line. I'm going to make it 1. I'll make the thickness bigger, and the second one I'll make 11. I'll hit round, so it's kind of turning into a circle, and again maybe I'll make it 22. You can see it's kind of spreading those dots out, make it a bit smaller, make this gap a little bit less, and so you can end up with some pretty nice things happening. I'm going to change that and see if I can get that angle to slot in here a wee bit. Again, I might leave that one. Take a bit of this path here out. See if I can thicken that up a wee bit. Stroke. You can see here that there's something odd happening with this corner, so let's go in and have a look. So it's not joined. So if I drag around that point and go Command J or Control J, it will join it and bring it back to a corner. Again, moving things around to try and create some shapes. And the last part, what happens if we take this line out? So for me, on here, we're ending up with a really nice shape. So it's come from the letter forms, everything's kind of broken apart. We're using thicknesses, different lines, trying to line things up to see how they can work. This lining up with this line going straight up through here, this touching this, until we get this kind of really lovely looking composition.